Alright, so I'm going to go over my trades for April 30th, 2021 today, and my results were alright. I was plus 11 ticks today, and I only had 4 trades. Had some missed opportunities and missed fills that would have been pretty decent trades as well. I feel like I'm saying shoulda, woulda, couldas a lot lately, and I know in hindsight it's always to say, oh, those were good trades and those would have worked out if I would have entered, but I'm not saying that because it's shoulda, woulda, couldas. I'm just trying to move myself farther down the process of building confidence in what I'm seeing, and the results are that my context read is good, that my edge is solid, and if I would continue to manage my trades properly and take the opportunities when they come about, the results tend to be pretty solid. So today, for example, every day I just continue to say if I would have just managed things a little bit differently, I would have had a very big day, and this is another perfect example of that. So for 4 trades, only ending up 11 ticks is not very good, considering all 4 of these trades either went to my targets or far beyond my targets. So I'm just going to go through them one by one and see kind of what my context read was and the setups that I took. So first of all, we have 610. So I'm not going to go through the context read, the overall read. That's just going to take too long. So 610, and I'm on Mountain Standard Time, so 8:10 Eastern. But I missed this. I was at the screen, but kind of a little bit late, so I wasn't quite ready to trade. But this obviously was a great short opportunity, kind of here breaking down below this zone here, coming down, pushing down through, and obviously a huge imbalance. And this is where I really started to pay attention when I was ready to see what happened here. And 610 was about right here, so obviously we're opening well below yesterday's range, so back into the previous day's range before that. So first trade was at 610. That's after this large imbalance move down, so I'm watching this and to see when buyers came in there. And first thing I did was I noticed obviously this huge amount of volume on the numbers bars here, so I'm kind of marking this volume here, watching this and seeing how price handles this. We move here and then we get this large 2-bar reversal, so this is a fairly aggressive trade. So my concept for this trade was that if we can push above, which we did here at 608, and hold this volume here. So yeah, it is slightly aggressive, but my plan was to manage it very tightly, and that was also part of the problem. So about 610 is where I entered here at 40, I think it was 42 was my entry, and I ended up taking a 6-tick loss on the trade. And so we can see what happened here. So the number one thing that I notice on this trade is there's absolutely no reason for me to have set my risk where I did. So I had set my stop here below these bar lows here, which is nothing more than a tiny little wiggle that's obviously not making me wrong on this trade. And the first de-risk at the very soonest would be a break of these highs to the left here. Let's go back to the 1 minute. So that's these bar highs here. So that's where I would be at the very earliest to de-risk there. Stop should be down below here. But the problem with that for me is that would have to be down below the 20s. So that's a 20-tick stop. So I didn't have a real solid area. And this volume is what I was leaning on here. So if we get down below that, next is down here in this volume, and then it's just a hard trade to manage with such a wide stop. I can't be taking 20-tick stops. So anyway, I entered here 42 or so, and immediately kind of thought that I should put my stop below these bar lows here, and stopping me out almost, exactly to the tick. Here we can see, I think like less than 10 contracts traded here. And if I had, I'm not going to even say that I was unlucky, because this happens to me all the time, consistently. So context read for this would be to push back up into this, all of this untested supply up here. I mean, there's a ton of space here, easily could come back up. So my target was 65 in front of this, and so I got taken out here at 36 to the tick before. I mean, even a break of this, if I had made it through there, I would have been able to de-risk to break even at 42 here, and then I would have most likely been able to hold into this all the way through. So that's a 25 tick win there. Instead, I took a 6 tick loss. So next trade, 720 at 50 for a break even. And that was here after this pushback down here and this imbalance up. So I entered at 50, hoping that this trouble here holds. And again, the idea is that now we've already tested back into this supply, so we would possibly be good to go back up into this upper edge range here. So, and again, what happened, I moved my stop to break even. Let's see, how long was I even in this trade? 10 minutes. So we did have this retrace here down here, so $7.20. So this is my entry here, and then up, and then taken out at break even, probably right here on this 730 on this pushback down here. Yeah, so I mean, that's debatable, you know, that's actually fairly legitimate of a break even trade there. This was a high tick of this to these bar highs to the left here. So we'd say that that is a possibly legitimate break-even trade or a de-risk point there. My next trade was a nice win, and that was at 826 at 42. And 826, yeah, I remember this one. So we had this low tick failure here, right here. Came down, pushed up on increased volume, and we got this nice little imbalance push into this tiny little area of trouble. And again, what I'm watching now is that we're clear to push all the way back up, you know, possibly even up to this untested supply up here, because again, this supply has been tested here. This pushed all the way back up into here, so this has all been tested. This supply has been tested, so next target is really up into, you know, possibly into the 96. And so where did I get in on that? 826, taken in at 826, so 826 to here, so I got in at about 42. So really nice entry after this push, this demand push here, and I took that all the way up into, so I was expecting a break at least of these highs, and even possibly higher up into here, into this, you know, this 83, 85 area to take out this liquidity here. And what ended up happening is once we did have a reaction here off of these bar highs, which is to be expected again, and on the number bars, 835 approximately, we'll see. This is what I was watching as well during the trade. What happened is we ended up having a large amount volume, and you can see here to the left here we had quite a bit of compression or absorption or whatever you want to call it here. So this was an area that I was going to be watching. So what happens, we push up into here, and this was at 66, so I mean that's you know, I was up 26 27 ticks at that point. Would have been nice to lock it in, you know, but I'm also looking for that farther, that bigger target there. Came back, pushed down, and then we start putting in this increased volume here again. So what I'm looking at is for this to hold, really, because I don't want to be down below this area again and fail down, and then pretty soon I'm all the way back down to my break-even point. Didn't want to let that happen. So what ended up happening is I think I took it off right around here, and you know, it's a fine line here between giving this room to flush and break this, but we didn't really get the flush here on the push above these bar highs either. So man, I was really hoping that we would get a push and then for this volume to hold from above. Didn't happen, so I took it off at 17. I think my max here was about 27 ticks positive. So you know, never shooting for that, but 17's not too bad. 27 would have been nicer, but you know, when you're going for all the way up into like a push to 90, that would have been almost, you know, 40 50 ticks, and that's what I was hoping for. And let's see, the next one was another break even at 859 at 40. $8.59. $8.59, yeah. So what I'm looking at here again is that we're failing, you know, down into this area, and now looking that we've pushed down into testing this demand further and further each time. So I grabbed 859, I grabbed 40 here, and we can see on the number bars as well. We get this nice imbalance push down. We're again pushing down to test these lows again, and 859 is where I get this nice push, this little imbalance push down. But again, why manage it? I managed it so tightly, and I was taken out at 902. Yeah, so on this retrace, this small retrace, so once again, I'm not wrong on this trade. I mean, at the very least, you know, put my stop above these at 46s. I'm just so hesitant to not take losing trades. So instead of taking 6 ticks for this ultimate upside of breaking these bar lows, and my target was going to be down at, I think, at like the 15, and we can see that the 15 is clear right here into this these untested bar highs and this demand push from here. So 40 to 15, again, that's crazy. It's another 25 ticks, and this thing played out perfectly right here. And so again, instead of allowing the trade to work out, trying not to lose, not taking a 6-tick loss or a potential 6-tick loss, I cost myself a 25-tick win again. So it's pretty late, so sorry this was kind of slow and I'm babbling on a little bit, but I think that'll be long enough for now. I'm trying to simplify my charts a little bit. The number bars used to be way more complicated. I had bid-ask spread, bid-ask number bars, and now I'm just looking at total volume, and so I want to just focus on where is the volume, where are the increases in volume, am I on the right side of volume, and then just trading my levels. Really is trying to focus on marking my zones and my levels and seeing, the profiles are key, but like Kelly always says and talks about, that the profile is just an indicator of what we're seeing here. We don't really need the profile. If you know how to look for these zones and unfair prices, that's going to be our low volume nodes, and value is always our high volume nodes. And so you can see that without even, but it's nice to put a profile on really quick and see where the bulk of the volume was traded at. And this will really help, because it always coincides, unfair prices and value coincides with the profiles. So